everyone, welcome to the online class English. Today we are going to see the poem The Spider and the Fly. The Spider and the Fly, which was written by Mary Botham Howard. Unit 4 The Spider and the Fly, Mary Botham Howard. Before going to the poem, we'll see the author. Author Mary Botham Howard was born on 12th March 1799. She was an English poet. She was born at Colford in Gloucestershire. Their Queen Anne house is now known as Howard Place. Okay, their Queen Anne house is now known as Howard Place. Mary Botham was educated at home and read widely. She commenced writing verses at a very early age. She married William Howard and began a career of joint authorship with him. Together with her husband, she wrote over 180 books. Their literary productions at first consisted chiefly of potential and other contributions to annuals and periodicals, of which a selection was published in 1827 under the title of The Desolation of Him and Other Poems. Okay, now we'll move on to the poem The Spider and the Fly. Now we'll see stanza by stanza. First stanza. Will you walk into my parlor? Said the spider to the fly. It is the prettiest little parlor that ever you did spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show when you're there. Which means the first stanza is the spider's pursuit of the fly, with a charming invitation into his home. Yet the sociable chat is edged with a sense of mistrust, a sense of danger that comes with these two characters, who the spider and the fly. Being natural predator and prey. Prey means food. Parlor means a tidy room in a house for entertaining guests. The spider describes his parlor as the prettiest little parlor. Okay, so describes his parlor na tidy room in a house for entertaining guests. So this spider, describes his tidy room as a little parlor that ever you did spy. The act of spying is to watch something secretly. We share secrets and confidences with our closed ones, inviting the fly to spy into his house. The spider is trying to send the message that he considers the fly to be close. The spider portrays his home as a mysterious, wonderful place. More details are added, arouse the fly's curiosity. The parlor may be reached through a winding stair, and it is filled with many pretty things. Okay, so winding na a twisting movement or a course. Okay, so more details are added to arouse the fly's curiosity. The parlor may be reached through a winding stair, and it is filled with many pretty things. Next stanza. Oh no, no, said the little fly. To ask me is in vain. For who goes up your winding stair can never come down again. Which means, thankfully, the fly wisely sees through the spider's deviousness. She knows that those who go through the winding stair into his womb never come out. She knows that, okay? She knows that those who go through the winding stair into his home never come out. It implies she is aware that the spider has eaten his previous guest. So it implies, okay, she is aware that the spider has eaten his previous guest. So this is one extended invitation she shouldn't be accepting. Okay, she should not accepting the invitation. She clearly declines, telling the spider that to ask her into his home is in vain or useless. Next, I'm sure you must be weary, dear, were soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed? Said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around. The sheets are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Which means the spider has been keeping a close eye on the fly. He tries a different tactic for his next move. Okay, so he's trying a different tactic for his next move. This time the spider feigns concern. Posing as a sympathizer, the spider pretends to fret over how tired the fly must be. I'm sure you must be a very means tired. Tired, dear, after what he feels is a day of intense flying. He goes so far as to personally offer her a respite from the day's activities. The cunning villain also had a subtle dose of flattery. Okay, so the cunning villain also adds a subtle dose of flattery. Who's the cunning villain? Spider. Soaring up so high is how he describes a fly's flight. Okay, soaring up so high. So this is how it describes the fly's flight. He hopes the fly will lower her guard if she feels that she has a kindly shoulder to lean on. He temptingly offers prospect of a little rest, like offering water to a thirsty traveler. A cozy little bed, a cozy little bed with light sheets to rest on. A quiet place with pretty curtain drawn around to make it cool and dark. To an exhausted person, exhausted, not tired, to a tired person, this would be a bliss, the perfect atmosphere to snugly tuck. This means to ensure a comfortable snooze by securing the bed sheets closely around oneself. Okay, the perfect atmosphere to snugly tuck in. This means to ensure a comfortable snooze by securing the bed sheets closely around oneself. Interestingly, the fine and thin sheets bring to mind the fine silks of cobweb. If the spider tucks the fly into this bed, she could find herself in permanent slumber. Next, oh no, no, said the little fly, for I have often heard it said, they never wake again who sleep upon your bed. Which means, then again, perhaps the spider tried too hard when he proposed to personally tuck the fly in. Weary or not, so which means tired or not, the fly is still alert to the perils of failing for the spider's flattery. She turns him down on his own offer, remarking that everyone knows of the spider's ill repute as a host. As she hears, no one who goes for a sleepover at the spider's ever wakes up again. Her refusal is not just based on her own observation now. This time she is even more firm. In addition to her, oh no, no. Note her repetition of never for emphasis. Okay, repetition of never for emphasis. Oh no, no. They never wake again. Who sleep upon your bed. Next. Said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I have always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice? Which means still the spider preserves. Okay, preserves. Now he tries to manipulate the fly. Okay, now he tries to manipulate the fly into feeling guilty for not accepting his many gestures of friendship. Okay, so there is a manipulating is going on. Dear friend, what shall I do? The spider is eager to prove his friendship. Okay, so dear friend, what shall I do? The spider is eager to prove his friendship but is still on his terms. At the end of the day, he is using guilt as another roundabout. Okay, at the end of the day, he is using guilt as another roundabout way to get the fly into his home. I have within my pantry. Pantry means a room from beverages, food, dishes or stored. Okay. A room from beverages, food, dishes or stored. I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. These constant invitations to see or sample something or another in his house is almost a pitiful refrain. He is desperate and at his wits' end. Okay, so it seems on how to gain the fly's trust. Okay, next answer. Next. Oh, no, no, said the little fly. Kind sir, that cannot be. I have heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. So, which means it's a commendable the way the fly flies politeness with the politeness. She addresses the spider as kind sir. Okay, so she addresses the fly addresses the spider as kind sir, a dainty reply to his dear friend. It shows that while the fly shows courtesy to the spider, she is not keen on him as a friend and will still keep her distance. The fly then proceeds to firmly turn down his invitation and tactfully alludes that she already knows what's in the spider's pantry. Okay, so that she already knows what's in the spider's pantry, that is his past victims, and is not interested in knowing more. Next, sweet creature, said the spider, your wit and your voice. How handsome your gauzy wings, how brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'll step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. So, which means vanity is the spider's choice weapon now. Okay, so vanity is the spider's choice weapon now. He heaps flattery on the fly in praising her wit and wisdom. The spider sends the message that he acknowledged that the fly is a smart cookie. This well placed compliment could have lulled her into a false sense of security, for the fly could assume that she was smart enough to see through the spider's evil plans. Immediately, Immediately after, the spider begins to praise her loveliness, those gauzy wings and brilliant eyes. The spider speaks as if the fly does not realize her own beauty. He wants to show her how lovely she is. Again, an invitation to see herself in the looking glass. One moment is all he asks of her, one moment is all he needs. Next, I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you are pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now. I'll call another day. So, which means from the earlier unhesitating, oh, no, no, our little fly does not seem too vehement in her refusal now. She has not accepted the spider's invite. We could even say she is stalling. After all, the fly still has not specified when she will visit the spider. But while she has not said yes, she has not given an outright no, like she used to earlier either. This hesitation from the fly and not an outright falling for the spider's flattery is an insight into the poet's understanding of the human psyche. Next stanza. Spider turned him round about and went to into his den. For well, he knew the silly fly would soon come again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. So settlements delicate, fate and mysterious. Okay. So is seen after all the talk of the fly being witty and wise. Okay, after all the talk of the fly being witty and wise, the spider calls us silly. Like so many others he has lured before, he is confident that she has predictably fallen for his honey tongued scheme. Up Up until now, just like the fly, we had our suspicions, the fly's discomfort, her observation on the guest that never returned, the rumors about the spider's continuous wheeling to come to his home. But it is at this point in the poem that the spider's evil intent becomes clear. He is seen gloating, he weaves a web not easily noticeable, okay, a subtle web, ready to trap the fly. His devious plan comes to light as he sets his table for the fly, not as his guest to dine with, but as his feast to dine on. Then he came out of his door again, and merrily did sing, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly, with a pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there is a crest upon your head. Y- Your eyes like the diamond braid, but mine are dull as lead." Which means, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly." The spider calls out eagerly, feeling like he has baited his prey. Okay, prey means food. The spider rapidly reels the fly in with vivid flattery. The robes of green and purple refer to the color of the fly's body. The crest or crown, likely the fly's antenna. Gauzy wings have now become pearl and silver wing. Brilliant eyes are now eyes like diamond bright. Okay, so simile is used here. The poet likens the fly's bright eyes to diamond against the spider's dull eyes, which are compared to lead. The spider is self-depreciating so as to highlighting the fly's beauty. Next, alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his willy flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hunt aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head, poor foolish thing. Which means, alas, alas, the poetic lament for "oh no" is uttered with these words. One can only foresee doom for the fly. What's What's even more vexing is that the fly was actually a wise creature at the beginning. But as the poet says, alas, vanity will be her downfall, and she becomes silly and foolish. Lured in the spider's devious sweet talk, his willy flattery words, the fly sits aside her sensible self. Yet there is still a part of her that is wary of how safe the situation is. We see her slowly flitting by, guardedly testing the waters as she comes closer to the spider's home. Mesmerized by thoughts of her reflection, she gradually approaches the spider's web, and needing the instincts, the fly hardly offers any resistance. Clearly engrossed in her own beauty, the fly is impervious to the danger she is in. At last up jumped the cunning spider and fiercely held her fast. He dragged up his winding stair into his dismal tent within his little parlor, but she never came out again. Which means what? This was the moment of the spider had been building up so long for. Quickly he pounces on her, fiercely held her fast, now deadly and focused on this goal. The spider wastes no time. The home that he had so charmingly described before reveals its deadly designs. As the poem rapidly takes us through the spider's winding stair, his dismal den, his little parlor, our foreboding is realized, and we know there is a grisly end for the poor fly. For just like she remarked once of the others before her, she never came out again. And now, dear little children, who may who may the story read, to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you never give heed unto an evil counselor, close hearts and ear and eye, and takes a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. Which means what? There is a change in the narration style of the poem as the poet ends her tale. She breaks off from the storytelling made and directly addresses the audience, offering up a warning or moral to conclude the poem. Takes a lesson from the spider and the fly, The poet counsels, be distrustful of useless sweet talk that is insincere. Not a price or advice is genuine. Therefore, you must be careful who you listen to. Unto an even counselor, close heart and a ear and eye. For that matter, the poet would rather like us not coming into contact at all with sweet tongued people with not so sweet intentions. Okay, so spider and the fly, which means spider chases a so the spider chases a fly to enter into its web. Next, kindles the curiosity of the fly. Next, the fly is witty and refuses to enter into its house. Spider pretends to be a host, asked to rest in its home, offers to give food and bed to rest. Next, the fly declines its offer politely. Finally, it flatters the fly, praises the eyes, wings, and her wisdom. Next, invites to look at herself in the mirror. Next thing, tempted by its word, the fly falls a victim to its prey. So, in first stanza, the spider does its best to entice the fly into its parlor with the promise of pretty things to see. The fly refuses and says it will never visit because it knows whoever goes there is a never seen again. Okay, in stanza 2, the spider tries a different tactic, offering the fly a pretty and comfortable place to sleep. Again, the fly refuses, citing the disappearance of others who have accepted this offer. In stanza 3, the spider asks what it can do, prove its motives are pure. It offers lovely food to the fly, but once again, the fly refuses, saying it has heard about the spider's pantry and is not interested. In stanza 4, the spider tries to flatter the fly by praising its appearance and inviting it in to look into a mirror. Though flattered, the fly refuses but leaves the door open a bit by implying some other time. Okay, so in stanza 5, the spider knows it has won and begins preparation to feast on the fly. After setting a clever trap, it again appeals to the fly's vanity and praises its beauty compared to the spider's less appealing appearance. In stanza 6, the vain fly comes by to hear more blandishments about its beauty, and the spider strikes, taking the fly into its parlor, which it never emerged. In stanza 7, that is last stanza, the narrator speaks directly to readers with an imperative: never fall for the flattery of a predator. Learn from this fable of the spider and the fly. Okay, so what is the moral of the poem? Take a lesson from the spider and the fly. The poet counsels, be distrustful of useless sweet talk that is insincere. Not a price or advice is genuine. Therefore, you must be careful of who you listen to. Unto an even counselor, close heart and ear and eye. For that matter, the poet would rather like us not coming into contact at all with sweet tongued people with not so sweet intention. Okay, that is the poem, The Spider and the Fly. In characters, spider, the fly, and the narrator. Kindly read the poem. Okay, thank you.